Hi, I'm Sue George from HarvardSweetBoutique.com, and I'm going to show you how to make our mint chocolate fudge brownies. The first thing you want to do is to preheat your oven to 325 degrees and to line a half-sheet pan with parchment paper. Okay, so we're going to be mixing in a stand mixer, and I have 8 eggs, 8 large eggs, and sugar, and lots of good double-strength Madagascar vanilla extract, which is what I love to use. And we're going to mix that up a little bit. We don't want to overmix. Start just on low until the yolks are slightly beaten and everything looks pretty well mixed together. And then we'll turn that off. And in advance, what I've done is I've melted some chocolate in a double boiler with some butter and allowed it to cool a little bit. And I'm going to now add it to the bowl of eggs and sugar. Scrape it out really well. And again, we want to mix that up a little bit. We never want to overmix brownies because they'll be tough in texture. Mix only 10 seconds or so. Turn that off, and then you want to let it cool to room temperature. The next step is to make your dry mixture. So I have flour, baking powder, and salt. So we put it in a large bowl, and I take a whisk it all together. And finally, we're going to add this to the chocolate egg mixture. On low speed again, mix it just until you see a few particles of flour remaining. Okay, and the final step before we put these brownies in the oven is to take some chocolate chunks, or you can use chocolate chips, and mix it with a little bit of flour. Just mix it in a tiny bit, and then we're going to add this to the brownie mixture. Mix that in. That's it. Get your pan ready. Make sure no flour is remaining visible. Pour it into the pan using your rubber spatula to scrape the bowl. Spread it all around evenly. And that's it. We're going to put it in the oven now. Okay, so now we're going to time it for approximately 25 to 30 minutes. The way I tell that it's finished is to jiggle the pan a little bit and make sure that the center of the brownie is still slightly moving, but not a lot. So the brownies have cooled to room temperature, and I've put them in the refrigerator or freezer for a couple of hours. I recommend at least 2 hours, preferably overnight if you have the time. And I've removed the brownies from the pan, and I've put them on a cutting board or any surface. Okay, so we're going to make the buttercream now. This is a mint buttercream, and we're going to start by putting the butter in the mixing bowl. Softened butter, unsalted. And we're going to get that going. We're going to cream it for a couple of minutes until it's nice and soft. So once it's softened, we're going to slowly add the sugar, the confectioner's sugar, to the butter mixture on low speed so it doesn't fly all over the place. So just do a little at a time, mix it in, blend it in. And I often scrape down the sides, moving it along. actually make any flavor buttercream that you'd like on a brownie. I also do a raspberry buttercream. So once it's almost completely blended in, I'm going to add the peppermint extract. And then I'll turn up the speed slightly and let it roar till it's really nice and creamy and extra spreadable, because we're going to spread the top of those brownies. That's it. The buttercream is finished. Remove the bowl, scrape your beater, and as you can see, it's nice and fluffy. So we're going to just plop it on the brownie and grab a offset spatula or knife or whatever you have you like to spread with. And you want entire coverage of your brownies. And you don't have to worry about it looking perfect on top, because the next step is to add the chocolate glaze. So there we have it. We have our frosted mint brownie with buttercream. And again, you're going to need to let this chill a little bit so that it solidifies enough so that the warm chocolate glaze won't melt the buttercream. Now we have our mint buttercream, which has been in the refrigerator for a while, about 30 minutes. And you can tell that it's ready to glaze. Just give it a little touch and make sure it's solid enough and it's not coming off on your finger, okay? Once again, I have melted some chocolate on a double boiler and have it ready for the glaze. So I'm going to pour it on. Just go right across the center. And take your spatula again and gently run it all over the brownie. It's okay if it runs down the sides. Typically, I tend to trim the sides. I have a big fan club of folks who love the brownie scraps, so I save them. You want to have nice, smooth coverage without any buttercream peeking through. And if your brownie is nice and cold, this will solidify very quickly, and it will go even more quickly if, again, you put it in the freezer or the refrigerator. So that's the end of this. You can see that it's already starting to solidify around the edges a little bit. I'm going to put it back in the freezer, and when we take it out, we'll put a little bit of a white chocolate drizzle on just for special effect. All right, now we're going to add the white chocolate drizzle to the top of the glaze. You can see that it's completely solidified. And again, I've melted white chocolate over a double boiler. So what I do is, some people like to use a fork, but I prefer to use a spoon. I take the spoon, stir it around, get a little bit on my spoon, and just kind of run it over. You can add as little or as much as you like, just so it's decorative. And it's fun to do, so you can get carried away. You can go the other way too if you like. But that's it. This will solidify very, very quickly, at which point you can get your knife. You can trim the edges if you have edge fiends. Then you can continue to cut the brownies into squares. This is what a finished one looks like, and you can see the layers. Nice, moist chocolate layer, and the buttercream is in the center. And it's very beautiful. You can cut them as large or as small as you like. I sometimes do mini brownies as well, in which I would cut one of these into fours. They're very, very rich. I hope you enjoy them, and thank you very much for viewing.